that better? Did it come back on? Dang it, man. That means this whole time didn't have sound. All right, there we go. All right. Dang, what I was saying was, to nobody apparently, was saying that Superman and Flash can never compete in a race on Earth together because Superman could never race around the world without hearing somebody in trouble. So they'd constantly have to stop. And then there would have to be a conversation where Flash would say, okay, let's just go to a parallel dimension or a different planet where we won't hear people in trouble. And that's when they'd be like, or maybe we never race because we don't need to leave Earth so that we avoid people having problems. I think they've had the race. I think they've raced, but there's a lot of like arguments about it. I mean, obviously, Flash is, in theory, faster. All right, I gotta go change so I can make it to Sarah Silverman show. Have a good workout. Hey, thank you. Thanks for dropping in. I didn't realize my sound wasn't working, so thanks for that. Would have gone the full hour with no idea. Next time I'll have my machete with the beer opener ready to show you. I always like the theory too that Flash can fly because he can generate enough speed with his legs and arms to actually take off, but that it would make him slower in the end. Like there's no reason for him not to just run. All right, I'm gonna try one more set. That's with the 60-pound dumbbells, 27.22 kilograms. I use dumbbells for most of my workouts, or like all my workouts. I keep it pretty basic. The intention is kind of like with Celtsy with his towel. I want to do workouts where I don't have an excuse not to do them, and I don't have a lot of equipment, and I think it's like getting a set of dumbbells is pretty easy for everyone to like jump in. So if they wanted to emulate, it wouldn't be hard for them to do so. So if you watch, all my stuff, even my squats, I use dumbbells. Eventually, I may get a squat rack when I've kind of tapped out the full potential of what I can do with the dumbbells. But I like doing it, especially for bench press. I get distracted very easily, and it's very easy for me when I'm tired, especially to end up pushing more with my right arm than my left arm and not focusing. So, it makes it a little bit easier for me to use dumbbells over barbells. Not opposed to using equipment at all. Just I will always have these dumbbells, so I always have or will lack an excuse not to be working out. All right, here we go. Oh, come on. All right, that's 6. I'm going to go ahead and jump down to 50 pounds. And by 50, I mean 55 pounds. Take 5 pounds off and hit it again. Right now my target is sets of 10. But as I'm pushing it, if I can't do at least 8 reps, then that's when I drop down to the next weight down and then start over. Just working towards failure. The hard part is for me getting to failure is having enough time to do it, because I have to get my workouts done while my kids are sleeping or occupied. Once they're awake, I have to bounce. If one of them is awake, depending on which one, I can keep working out. But if they're both awake, then no, they're gonna find a way to get in trouble. One kid by themselves is less able to get in trouble. But the two of them, they'll either be working together or working against each other. And if they're working together, they'll get into trouble doing something they shouldn't. If they're working against each other, they'll get in trouble just fighting each other. All right, this is 55 pounds. The hard part about working out by yourself, though, is not having a spotter. So you gotta really think through how far you're gonna push it. Because if you push it too far, then you're in trouble. I learned that a long time ago. I went for one more set. I think I was like 20 years old. I went for one more set with a 60-pound dumbbell. I got it up, and then it was like, you're done. And as I was bringing it down, my arm just collapsed, and I just dropped it right on my chest. That was a lot of fun. I don't recommend that. So if you're working out by yourself, be reasonable. I don't need my kids wandering out into the garage and finding me just destroyed. That's trauma they don't need. Oh, come on. Okay. All right. I'm going to give it about 45 seconds of rest and then hit it again. I'm not quite ready, even though that was only 5. And I know I said I drop it if I go below 8. I'm not quite ready. Not quite ready. Hmm. Anyone have anything they like to chat about? Hmm. Let's see. Talking about earthquakes earlier, and since my mic was off, nobody will know that I already was talking about earthquakes. But near me, we had a pretty big earthquake, and I didn't feel it at all where I was at. But people like one city over that I know were talking about it, and that's a when you live in California. Like I've spent most of my life living in California, so you get used to earthquakes. And I feel like for natural disasters, like earthquakes are are my top pick for ones to go through. Like tornadoes, floods, wildfires, those all have like extra stuff that comes with them afterwards. Earthquakes are pretty cut and dry. You got to clean up whatever's fallen down. There's not usually a problem with like floods where you have mold and bacteria and all this stuff that builds up. All right, we're gonna take 5 more pounds off. Go down to 50 pounds. But I always hear about like flooding, and you have so much like so many problems. Like the power is out, the flood waters. No one. When they finally, you have to wait for them to go away so that you can clean up the mess. I think tsunamis are really bad. My my brother and my dad went to help out after one of the big tsunamis, and that was rough. And they said like one of the hard parts was like the kids like having nightmares afterwards. You know, the ones that would be in the camps because they didn't have any family left or they couldn't find their family would be having nightmares about the tsunamis. I don't think I've ever had, or I've never had anything as traumatic as a tsunami hit. So I feel like those are the scarier ones. I live where there were some pretty big wildfires. And the hardest part of it for me was it was my job to call like 140 employees and check on everyone to see if they were okay. And like every time you called, you're just waiting for them to pick up the phone. And as it rings longer and longer, you think like the worst. And then like it was a mixed reactions to when you call. Like people would like get mad that their work was calling. And I was like, whoa, we're just calling to see if you're okay, if you need anything. And some people are like, oh, like, you know, I'm missing work because I'm waiting to see if my house is gonna be okay. I was like, hey, we're only calling to see if you're okay. You don't have to come to work. And other people were like thankful for the call. Oh. But that was a rough day. I'm not gonna lie. I cried a little bit. The like frustrating part of that wildfire though was you had people that missed work because their houses burned down, or they were like, watching to make sure their house didn't burn down because they were like right where the fires were. But then you had a lot of people that were nowhere near the fires that weren't involved at all, that found out like they weren't going to be in trouble if they didn't come to work. So they just didn't come to work because we were not doing our attendance policy at the time. Like we said, no one would get in trouble for missing. So people just didn't come. And like there was one guy that lived in the same apartment complex as me. None of his family lived in the area. He was a college kid and he just didn't show up to work. And I was salary at the time. So I was working 12 to 15 hours trying to make up for the people that weren't there. And this guy was just not coming to work. And that sucked. That was disappointing. And then we ended up having to offer people $100 extra a shift for them to come to work. And then all these people that were calling off came in and they're like, oh, we weren't calling off because, we're just here to help. Like, it's not about the $100. And like, yeah, you guys suck. All of you guys that are taking advantage of this situation suck. And it was frustrating to work with them afterwards because you just knew people you worked with were some of the lowest kinds of people. Oh, come on. 6. I was hoping for another set of 10. All right. I'm going to go for one more set. Then I have to bounce because I can see on my monitor the kids are waking up. So let's get this last set in, and then back to the grind, cleaning and taking care of kids. But I asked for this life, so I'm happy. As much as it might sound sometimes I'm complaining, I'm very happy with my life. Very happy being a dad. Very blessed. All right. Well, like I said, when the kids are up, I gotta go back to it before they get into trouble. Thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate it. Thank you for the raid, Celtsy, even though I know you're not here anymore. Appreciate it. And God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good Thursday. Have a good Thursday.